Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're building a business or your own success, we're here to reshape how you think and face daily life and always remind you to enjoy the ride. Hello, and welcome to the Inner Blueprint, the podcast. All about mindset and thinking better thoughts so you get better results. I am your co-host here, Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. Hopefully we can disrupt some thoughts today, get you thinking better. And I'm here today with, what's your name again?
Caitlin Foyer.
My beautiful wife and co-host here.
That's right.
Caitlin Foyer. Ready to drop some bombs on mindset today?
I think we should. I mean, we have a whole program called the Inner Blueprint that we've created, and I like being able to share this outside of that as well.
I do too.
You know, this audience gets it at no charge.
Yeah.
All you have to do is listen, watch, share it.
The challenge is if you don't pay for it, you usually don't value it. So hopefully listeners, you value this information. I've paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and 52 years of life experience to learn some lessons along the way that we use every day to create better lives, not only for ourselves, but for those that we love and care about, those that we work with, and hopefully listeners of this podcast. So what's the topic for today? Did we make a decision?
We did. This one's going to be about micro momentum, like the art
Micro-momentum.
of winning every day.
So like bunch of little wins.
Well, I never call wins little, right?
No such thing.
No such thing as little. A win is a win is a win is a win. And so I find it absolutely one of the most important things in the world to celebrate quote unquote small wins. To celebrate wins when they happen. Daily progress, right? Success.
Okay.
And even when it doesn't look like success, it can be a win still.
Yeah.
Right? Because I learned what not to do or what I didn't like.
So when we get knocked down and beat up, that's a win?
I think it's a win.
All right.
I've learned it's information, and I get to make that either a win or I get to make that a total fail, and it's all about failing forward and really just seeing the win in every situation.
So we've got big wins we talk about, or big goals. We've got little wins or little goals.
Yeah.
Where do you want to dive in?
Well, let's start with big wins because, you know, again, no such thing as big win fallings, but when we're setting these big goals.
There are such things as big goals, though.
There's big goals. That is definitely such a thing as that. And that's what we teach people is, right?
Yeah. And a big goal isn't as much about the goal as the growth it will create for you to accomplish it.
But so many people forget that part.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so even when we teach it, we're not always so great at reinforcing, hey, yes, you have to have this big goal, and it's about, you know, who you become to reach it, not just actually reaching it, right? Especially for competitive people like business owners, like salespeople, like, you know, anyone that's really driven in this world. I'm so competitive. I mean, I'm more competitive than most people in this world. And it really made me the person I am today. And it can be one of my greatest liabilities as well.
Well, and as a competitive person and someone who's good at setting and achieving goals, was it challenging for you to come up with a big goal that you had no idea?
That was the hardest thing I did.
Right?
That was the hardest thing. I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't even break it down to what I wanted because I just was like, I just want to be happy. And you're like, well, what does that look like? And I was like, what do you mean what does it look like? You're like, start with one thing. Tell me one thing that would just make you be happy. And I'm like, I'm able to provide for my girls everything that they want. And you're like, all right, cool. Well, what else does it look like? You know, and you took me down this journey of setting this big goal. And, you know, I'd never heard A goal, B goal, C goal before. I'd never heard that term. I'd only heard SMART goals. And I lived in the world of SMART goals. I did it with the businesses I worked with. I did it personally. And those goals are about being, you know,
specific,
measurable, attainable.
Attainable, what?
Yeah, like all of those things, which that is a great way to live life as long as you view those as checklists.
Yeah, and things to accomplish, because you'll get things done if you set smart, reasonable, I'm going to call them tasks because they're not really goals, because the way we define goals is a little bit differently. Should we go through ABC quick, just a refresher?
Yeah, if you will explain, and this could be someone's first time listening, you've probably never heard of an A goal, a B goal, or a C goal, and, you know, not like a beagle or a dog or a
Yeah,
seagull.
we're not talking about birds. It's not
Yeah, we're not
seagulls.
talking about birds here.
Oh,
Yeah,
come
if you'll.
on. This is all for the birds. This sounds like a bunch of hokey pokey, Caitlin. What are you talking
So
about?
many people think that though. Like, what do you mean I have to think something that big? I'll never get it, right?
Oh, and as long as you think that, you never will.
Amen.
So, and I learned this from Bob Proctor. So, A goals are something that you want to accomplish that you've already accomplished. An A goal was, I used to weigh 185 pounds back in high school. I want to get back to 185. Or I bought a new Chevy truck a couple years ago. I want another new Chevy truck. Still a goal, still something you're working for, but there's no growth because you already know how to do it. You've done it before, you can do it again. So again, worthwhile, but it's not where we focus a lot of our time and energy because those are more like to-do lists than actual goals. B goal is a step up. It's something you've never done, but you know how to do. So wait, I want to get back better than I've ever been before. Or I want to buy a newer, more expensive car than I've ever bought. Or I want to love myself, whatever it is.
I want to grow my business to this amount.
10%,
You know, we did
15%
We did 2 million this year. I want to do, two or 2.5. I see the path. I know who I need to hire. I know what I need to do to get there.
And in a lot of structured planning, business strategy meetings, they try and be realistic and logical. And so a B goal can be helpful for moving the needle. But again, if you can see the steps, if I do that, then this, then that, then it's possible. That's a B goal. You already know the pathway. There's no internal growth in getting there. Now, C goal, letter C goal, is something so big, so illogical for you, that you have no idea how it's possible. And it should do two things: excite you and scare you equally, right? It should be something really exciting. To get in the best shape of your life, to make more money than you've ever made, to not only love yourself, but be loved by everybody around you more than you ever have. I don't know how that's possible right now, right? I don't know how I could do that. That's a C goal. So that's where we spend a lot of our times with clients, is getting them thinking bigger. And again, you don't have to know how. In fact, you should know how, because the problem is most people think that big thought, immediately go to the how. And what does the how do?
Knocks you out of belief.
Knocks you out of belief. If you haven't planted that C goal in your subconscious mind. And how do we do that? We've talked a lot in past episodes, so I'll do a quick refresher. Spaced repetition of thought, adding some emotion to it. You have to take it from a conscious 5% idea to a 95% subconscious program. And once it's embedded in your subconscious mind like a program, the cybernetic mechanism inside of all human beings, which is goal seeking, it's why we learn how to speak, it's why we learn how to walk, it's why we learn how to run, it's why we mimic and copy behavior around us, is once we see it and impress it upon our mind, once it becomes a belief, now we're on our way. So that's the first step in any big goal, is get a C goal, make an affirmation, make it a mantra, say it every day. And that's what I've done over and over again, and made C goals into B goals, and then they become A goals, and they're just repeating behavior.
So what's a good C goal for someone if they want to make more money, Sean?
If you want to make more money, the simplest way to do this is look back over the last 5 years and take the most money you've made in a year and double it. Don't triple it. Don't 10x it. We can talk about that more in a minute. Double it. And if that blows your mind away and you can't do it, then maybe do half and again. So, but look for easy speak here. Let's
Just
go.
double it.
Most you've ever made, double it, divided by 12. That's your new monthly income in your mind. Come up with an affirmation statement, present tense, already like it's happened. If you most you've ever made is 50 grand or 100 grand, whatever it is. I'm going to say 100 grand. Most you've ever made is 100 grand. Double it to 200, divided by 12, make the number sticky. I'm so happy and grateful now that I earn, present tense, $19,999.99 every single month, effortlessly flowing into my bank account as what are you going to give for that? Are you going to serve? Are you going to sell? Are you going to build? You're going to create. You have to put the impact back. But at the simplest level, it's saying that statement over and over and over until your mind
believes it.
And again, research this, Google it, ask AI. The human mind can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. So whatever you tell it over and over and over again, it will believe. And if you want examples of this, I think of my beautiful, powerful mother who never believed she was beautiful, right? Physical world would tell her she was.
Everyone told her she was.
She believed the opposite because of programming that happened to her through her growing up. And so many people believe things. So if you're going to believe something that's not true about yourself, why not pick something positive and amazing, like you make twice as much today than you really do? So that's the first step.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because this is what we teach people in our program,
Yes.
is to set C goals. And sometimes we've gotten feedback. In fact, you had a conversation a while ago with a client
Yeah.
who was like, I think my C goal is a D goal.
And what's a D goal?
So sometimes what happens with people is they set these C goals past their point of belief, right? Where it's not even, they can't even tangibly like latch
Imagine
on
it,
to
yeah.
something.
If it's beyond your imagination,
Yes.
it's too big. You know,
And it got to the point where it didn't excite and scare him. It just scared him.
or it just seemed ridiculous even. I think he called it, he said, Sean, I didn't set a C goal, I set a D goal.
D goal, yeah. Which you said, don't be a dope, right?
Yeah, don't be a dope, which I literally chuckled at. And then I started looking back and, you know, I think I've set some D goals.
Yeah.
You know, you think about, oh, well, if I can do anything, I'll be a billionaire, right? And you start saying you're a billionaire.
Before you
can't even imagine that. You know, if you're making a 100x stretch from the biggest, highest point you've ever been in any of the areas, health, wellness, relationships, you got to start with something that is within your imagination, but don't set a D goal. Don't set
something so unattainable that you're like,
that's dumb.
Because it's a fine line. And we don't ever want people to fall out of that belief, right? Because that's what we really teach people is to think better thoughts, you have to believe, right?
Well, and even doubling your income, you don't believe it at first, but it's something you can imagine.
You can imagine.
You can imagine. You can
Use your
stretch
imagination.
your mind around. Say, you know, I don't know how that's possible, but I can imagine myself living that way. And again, you know, use your imagination. What would your life be like if you doubled your income? Like think of how your lifestyle would change, how maybe some bills would go away, how maybe you'd be able to provide for not only yourself, but those you love and care about most. And that will add some feeling to it. But that's the big goals. That's the stretch. So you were talking about for today's episode
is more of like this of celebrating of what keeps a C goal from becoming a D goal. And that really falls down to celebrating wins as they come, celebrating those small wins as they come.
Well, and I think too, modifying behavior a little bit too.
Yeah.
Really.
Because I just think, so most people think success comes from like these giant leaps, right? Like I'll be successful when this big, huge, amazing, wonderful thing happens. But along the way, there's got to be a lot of wins in between that, right?
Well, and for anybody that listens to us or as part of our program, we recommend 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes of good material, 5 minutes of your goal, 5 minutes of I am statements to become the version of you that has to get that goal, in 5 minutes of gratitude. And if we're talking about once you get that C goal, a small win is doing that work daily.
Yes.
Like doing your affirmation work, saying your goal with belief every day. You know, I've shared this with people that have liked the idea, but then they've said the goal maybe once or twice. Maybe they write it down and check it once a year. That's great, but that's not doing anything on a daily basis to create success in your life.
Well, yeah, because these biggest changes, they start with the smallest steps.
Yeah.
Right? And the smallest steps are what create habits, and that's what that is. And so recognizing when a win is a win, right? Not downplaying it and thinking this isn't really a win because I'm not to my big C goal yet.
No, but going back to if I'm going to double my income, if I knew how to do that, I'd be doing it right now. So I obviously don't know how to do it. And if my daily actions were in alignment with doing that, I'd have already done it. So I'm going to have to start. What are my daily actions? And this is where most people really shy away. Well, I don't want to change anything. And even if they don't say that
or they think I'm working so hard right now and I don't have enough time.
I don't have enough time. Yeah, I don't have time. I'm already putting in so many hours, work, family. I don't have time to take care of myself, which at a physical level might be true. And something's got to change.
Something's got to change. And that goes back to, we resist massive change really easily, actually. Most humans resist massive change right off the get-go. Like, great idea, not going to happen. I'm not doing it. Or there's no way I can do it, right?
Or if they say they are, they try and do instead of one thing consistently, 5 or 6 things, and it's just too much. Like our human mind is programmed for efficiency and to keep us safe. So 95% of what we do comes from programmed pattern thoughts, from the way we drive, get dressed. And sometimes when I do seminars, I do the hand exercise. Listeners, if you clasp your hands together without thinking about it, notice which thumb's on top.
Yeah.
Mine's always my right. Take your fingers, move them apart, put the opposite thumb. It feels different. At some level, you want to go back. So if you think about, well, I'm so programmed that I don't like to hold my fingers one finger difference, or fold my arms a different way, or cross my legs a different way, or brush my teeth with the opposite hand. We're programmed that we don't want to do one little thing different. So if I'm going to try and double my income, there might be a few little things that I have to do differently every day. And the idea with this episode is pick one. What's one new daily habit you can change? I did a lot of, we were talking about earlier, Caitlin, a few years ago, I didn't just read, I studied the book, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And he talks in there about the habit loop cycle where, a reward happens, a response. But at the end of the day, he boiled it down to there are keystone habits. There are singular habits. One, that if you make a change, an example he uses is somebody who smokes cigarettes. When they quit smoking, they usually replace that with a bunch of healthier habits. If somebody starts drinking a gallon of water a day, eventually that one keystone habit of drinking more water ends up with other healthy activities following. So,
and that just proves like our brains, they are programmed to resist massive change. They're programmed to resist change, but they thrive off these micro adjustments.
One change.
Just one change, just a micro adjustment.
And 30 days is enough to get you started. I've worked with a lot of people on health and wellness trying to get in better shape. And if it's somebody that hasn't been to a gym in years or just typically says, I'm not somebody who likes to work out, you've heard me say it. And even for me, I like to work out, but sometimes life gets busy and I get out of my schedule. 15-minute walk. If you commit, make a decision to commit to 15 minutes a day.
Which is nothing.
And do it for 30 days.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're not just walking. You're fast walking. Then you're jogging.
Or you're going longer.
Then you're extended to 20 minutes. Then it's 30 minutes. Then at the end of the run, you feel like going to the gym. And as you're doing that consistently for 30 days, guess what happens? Your subconscious starts thinking healthier. It's like Sean's taking this daily action to walk. It starts helping you pay attention to what you eat. And then you add to walking, drinking water. Then you add going to the gym. I mean, it is just habit stacking. In fact, another book, if you haven't read it, Charles Duhigg's The Power Habit is amazing.
Amazing.
James Clear, Atomic Habits, talks
read.
about habit stacking and some of the things we're talking about here. So,
and that's one thing too, when people say, I don't have time to make a change, habit stack. Add one of these micro adjustments. Like let's say you've got to make a bunch of calls when you get home from work. Do it on your walk. You can do those two things at the same time. On your drive home, instead of listening to, K-pop Demon Hunters, because your kids had it on, put on some good material. Put on this podcast. Put on, anything like that you can put on that is going to better the way that you see yourself. Because these little micro adjustments, they make the change in the belief of us really understanding that we can be whatever we want to be.
Yeah. I mean, going back to our 30 minutes a day, I tell people if they're not in our program, we're not going to hold them accountable. Just pick one, and you could pick 5 minutes of gratitude. And I, for 5 years, every day listened to Brother David's A Grateful Day. It's on YouTube. Just go into YouTube and search Brother David, A Grateful Day, and commit for 30 days to listen to that. It's 5 minutes long. You can listen to it in the shower. You can listen to it right before you go to bed. You can listen to it on your drive. 5 minutes a day. If you do that for 30 days, make a habit out of it, you're going to start stacking onto it.
Well, and it's true. I mean, that's something that I listen to instead of I used to be alarm goes off, hit snooze. Now it's alarm goes off, put on A Grateful Day, and that's what wakes me up, Or I put on a new day that we've released. You released a new day. It's a little bit longer. It's
9 minutes.
9 minutes. And so it really just gets me pumped up for, this is a brand new day today. And what am I going to do with it? What are my opportunities? What are the possibilities? Like, how much better does it get? I can't wait to see. And it really is amazing that these small little micro adjustments, it's crazy because you look back and they just become habit. They just become a part of who you are. But every time you do one, you prove to yourself that you can.
Yes.
And so then adding something else, even with habit stacking where you're not taking up any more time, like I said, the drive to the office, the drive to pick up the kids, the drive to the gym, whatever you're doing, you can habit stack these things, but every time you do, you're proving to yourself, I can do this. I can make this change. And it helps with your self-confidence, and it reprograms the way your brain works. It reprograms your neural pathways to expect these things. And it really is, it's amazing what happens when you start to view your life as magic, because it is.
Yes.
And the way to do that is to celebrate these little micro wins throughout your day, because when you get in that winning energy, more wins. This is the universe. It sounds hokey pokey. It sounds crazy, right? But the universe responds to what we tell ourselves every day. So if you tell yourself, I don't have time, I can't do this, that's too big of a change, the universe goes, okay, well, you don't have time. That's too hard.
Universe, your own mind.
Your own mind, your outside environment, everything responds to that.
Yeah.
And so when you start to be intentional and you say, no, I start my day with gratitude every day, whether that's, again, as you're getting out of bed, when you're in the shower, when you're, everybody has to get ready for the day. When you're getting ready, put it on. You're proving to yourself, I can do this, right? So what else can I do? And it really is, it's a miracle. And we're getting to the end of the year, and you could have for your business some big goals that maybe you didn't hit, right? And you're making your plan for next year. And you're thinking, well, we can't do this, we can't do that because we didn't do this, this, and this. Let that go. Focus on what you did do right. Focus on the things you did win. I want you to just make a list right now of all the wins you had this year. I mean, you could be writing down for days at this point if you really got intentional and thought, well, here was a win, here was a win, here was a win, here was a win. They're really easy. Once you start being intentional and focusing on what they are, you start realizing I have way more wins than I've given myself credit for.
100%. I mean, depending on what device, my phone, about once a month, I do photo memory where I just go back, and it's amazing. You forget, we live in such a busy world and such a busy life, and you think about everything's vying for your attention, from, computer monitors, phones, TVs, people, everyone wants your attention. And when we take our attention off our success and celebrating our wins, I love going back and, sometimes I'll even go back by year and just look and see, oh my gosh, I did that, I did that, I did that. It's funny, I remember listening to Jack Canfield talk about, he went to meet this successful business person one time, and as he got there, the receptionist let him in, and he was walking. There was a long hallway and some stairs up to this guy's office. And as he walked down, all there were pictures of this guy on both sides with different world leaders, with different, activities. And Jack shared, he goes, his first thought was, wow, this guy's kind of into himself, isn't he? And then when he got in the room and he met with the guy, he asked me, he said, yeah, I noticed you got a lot of cool pictures. And the guy said, that's my walk of champions. That's my reminder every day of how far I've come and the things I've accomplished. And what a powerful tool. We on a daily, we're focused on challenges. You have to. You spend a lot of your day in firefighter mode. The kids need something. So-and-so's got a flat tire. This went wrong. That went wrong. And when we're focusing our mind and our energy on the problems, we forget this micro habit of focusing on what's going well. What have you done good consistently?
Yeah.
And another thing too, just rabbit holing, is just think about what you automatically do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Without thinking about it. Pay attention to this as you get ready. The way you brush your teeth, you don't think about it, you just do it. The way you get your coffee ready or breakfast for the kids or whatever it is, you go into autopilot mode. We do that throughout the day. And what we're talking about here with micro wins, going back to the goal, if you want to get better results than you've ever got, it's going to take some different daily actions. And we start with one at a time. Just ground one new habit, then stack, then stack, then stack. And, you've done it, I've done it, and we've got, hundreds of individuals now that have started, 5 minutes of gratitude. Then we start doing our goal and our IMs, and then we're listening to good material. And in 30 minutes a day, which I want you to think about this, if you're telling me you don't have 30 minutes a day, you have 1,440 minutes every day you're alive. We're telling you, if you'll make a habit change and give 30 minutes, less than 2% of your day, to you to create other better habits to get better results, what do you have to lose?
Nothing.
It's 30 minutes. Most people waste more than 30 minutes. Look at your screen time on your phone. I guarantee between social media, email, text messaging that maybe is not that important, you're spending at least 30 minutes doing things that don't move the needle on your success.
Yeah, and it's crazy because this micro momentum really builds self-reliance, it builds self-confidence, and it builds you. And we often get so caught up in just the problems, like you said, and not realizing how much we do that are actually huge wins. We may see them as not a big deal, not important. We downplay them. And so then what happens with that too, if you do that too much, you stop getting things to celebrate. You stop getting things that win. You just start focusing on those problems, so more and more shows up, because that's also proven where you spend your attention, that grows. So if you focus on problems, more problems show up. If you focus on, downplaying a win, saying, oh, that was nothing, you're going to get a lot more of that. And so it really is wild to me that so many people live life thinking, oh, that's not a big deal. Oh, I just do that. Well, oh, that wasn't a win. Well, I don't want to share that.
And I think, and we had the conversation with Jim Lutz, I'm not sure we're in our order if that's dropped yet or if it will drop, but he brought up in mindset the word discipline. Mm-hmm. And I really like thinking about that because, everything we do in mindset with our clients, we're trying to create ease and flow in our life. But if you're going to have an easy life, it's going to take some difficult decisions. And at the end of the day, the word discipline, being disciplined, is doing the things that you don't want to when you know you should or you have to.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one. I mean, every single day when all of us wake up, we have a choice. And you can say you have to go to work, but you don't really. You can say you have to do a lot of things, but you don't really. You get to, or you get not to. You could decide, but whatever you decide to do, you're making a choice. And whatever you decide not to do, you're also making a choice. And discipline is about making a decision for you. In order to get in better shape, I've got to do these 3 things: sleep better, eat better, and move once in a while.
Yeah.
And then focus on one of those to start, and then stack it. In your business, in your profession, there's probably 1 or 2 things that you know you should be doing on the daily that you're not. I work with a lot of salespeople. Most salespeople don't like to role play. They don't like to record their sales calls. Do one of those things on a 30-day period and see what happens to your result. I mean, success, if you do the right things, it all comes back to, I'm all about the big goal. And I've set some big goals and believed them and been surprised and amazed at the outcome. And when people ask me, I say I didn't try that hard. But that's not fully true, because what I did do that is sometimes hard is have discipline every day on controlling my mind by doing my daily rituals, by doing my affirmation, my gratitude, and in holding a big idea in my mind until it becomes a belief, having the daily discipline to do the little things that will move the needle. The end is a lot of growth and a lot of really good results.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, like Sean was saying, Sean is a very disciplined person, just by nature.
I try to be.
You very much are so. And the things that you see are just part of your normal day. I mean, I've talked to you multiple times, like, where you're just like, I did nothing today, or today's the worst day, or like, oh my gosh, I have so much to do and I didn't do any of it. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. You woke up before the sun came up. You went down, you turned on the sauna, you got in the sauna, you cold plunged, you went to the gym. Like, those are all actual wins. Those are things that, like, I can't ever say, hey, I went and got in the cold plunge, because that's not going to happen. I've tried. I don't like it. I'm not doing it. That's a huge win that you should be celebrating more, right?
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but people that do CrossFit, they do CrossFit because they talk about it nonstop. It's a win in their day, right?
It's really hard, too.
It is really hard, right? Yeah. But they talk about it nonstop because it is hard, and they're proving to themselves. And we should do that. As humans, we should do that more often and celebrate our wins, because those little wins become huge wins. That's how we get our huge goals. And it really helps when you have a network of people. Like this movement we're creating, like the groups that we have, our masterminds that we coach. We start every call, every day with, what's your win? And it is so funny when people get on and it's crickets for a second. And I'm like, okay, we haven't talked in 7 days. You're telling me in 7 days you haven't had one win? I quit. We'll just quit the call now. I quit. Forget it all.
Well, I have a small win.
I know. Well, I had a small win.
No such thing as a small win.
Yeah. It's not. There's no such thing as a small win. A win is a win is a win. The University of Utah, they won, right? Was it the greatest team in the world? No. Was it an okay team?
Well, by the time this is dropping, they've won a lot.
They've won a lot, right? But when they win, someone can pick it apart and be like, oh, it was a small one. They only won by this much. Or the team wasn't very good, so it was that. It doesn't matter. They won, right? And that's really, people remember the win. They don't remember the win that was only this by this much, or only because it was a shitty team that they played. That's not any of that. A win is a win is a win, whether it's competitive sports, whether it's in your sales, whether it's in your relationship, you had that conversation you didn't want to have, or, you got on the same page with your partner about something that you guys have talked about forever and finally wanted to do. Maybe you actually booked the trip that you've been talking about forever. That's a huge freaking win. You haven't been on it yet, but you started the process.
Yeah.
And that is really what changes the world, is when you realize that these micro movements, these micro changes really create wins. And you start celebrating them, more wins show up. You get to celebrate more. And then pretty soon, those big, huge goals, those C goals you've set, become A goals. You've already reached them. They're done. And now it's time for new C goals, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you talk about that in sports, in sales, in a lot of things. When teams or people have success, sometimes they get away from things. In fact, I don't know why I'm thinking of a Vince Lombardi quote, the great coach of the Green Bay Packers. And a year after winning the Super Bowl, he would bring the players in, gather them all around, and hold up a football and say, gentlemen, and these are world champions he's talking to. And he said, we're going to get back to the fundamentals. This is the game of football. tackling, passing, the simple things. And if you think about it, in life, it's about the simple things. It's about the daily disciplines. It's about, what do you know you should be doing that you're not? And if you listen to us, hopefully it's a good idea to have a goal under sighted every day, to have some powerful I ams that are reprogramming your mind for success, to practice daily gratitude. And as you were talking, I was really hearing, Caitlin, when I'm not celebrating my wins, I'm not being grateful for me.
Yeah.
And daily gratitude, you might not have had your best day.
But you had someone's best day.
And you showed up. Sometimes when we go through, I've had some really tough days in my life. And at the end of them, I haven't had a lot to show for it. But if I focus back and say, I'm just grateful for me and my ability to navigate through a challenging day and go to sleep feeling like at least I did my best and at least I have tomorrow to try again. It really does, at the core, everything that we do comes back to gratitude, because what we're grateful for, we get more of. And if you give gratitude for these little things, and we start with one or two, and then we stack, and all of a sudden we have a bunch of little things that we're doing on a consistent basis, giving ourselves grace and credit and gratitude for, all of the time holding this bigger North Star goal that we're reaching for, the line's going to look like this. And sometimes it's going to go straight up.
Yep. And surround yourself with people that will do the same. If you're not ready to work in one of our groups with us yet, that's fine. If you're a salesperson, start a group chat with your other sales guys. They can either be in your company or they can be out of your company and say, hey guys, I just closed this and this today, right?
And the rule has to be no negative talk, right?
No,
water cooler talk. The leads suck.
Yeah.
Traffic sucks. This sucks. No, that's all going to happen. We're trying to create the opposite of that in our mind.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like I made the sale today, but it was only this much. No. Like, I made the sale, right?
Yeah.
If you're a business owner and, you don't have a network, you've got another friend that's a business owner, be like, hey, we did this today, or hey, I did this today, or hey, I had this conversation with this employee that I was just really not wanting to do. Huge win for me today.
Yeah.
Just surround yourself with people, whether it's someone in your business, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your kids. This is something that Sean and I do with our daughters. Like, what did you win at today? What are you grateful for today? What did you fail at today? Because when we fail, it teaches us, again, what not to do so that we know what better to do, right? And there's still there's wins in that. And being in winning energy makes life so much better. And everybody, you right now, you're winning at something right now. And even if you don't feel like it's a win for you, it's a win to someone. You may not be in your dream house. You're in someone's dream house. You may not drive your dream car. You're driving someone's dream car.
Yeah.
It could be just their dream to own a car. Gosh.
Well, and you don't have to have the result to be living your dream. That's
it.
Focus on the feeling before, because if you're always in comparison or always in scarcity, thinking it's the next, it'll never come. You'll never get there. You have to feel it today. That's why everything we do in affirmation work is present tense, as if it's already happened. And when we're giving gratitude for what is, the simple things, giving gratitude for what's coming too.
Yeah, and it's just that mindset shift. I think if Sean and I were to put on our stories, tell me something you failed at today, or tell me tell me something hard going in your life, it would be bombarded with messages of like, this sucks, this is hard, I fucked up on this today, whatever, right? But when we share, hey, what'd you win at today, we get far less.
Oh, it's hard to get people. It's hard for even me sometimes to talk about my wins, though. You don't want to sound like you're bragging. Sometimes you think, who cares?
Yeah, but that mindset shift.
Yeah.
It's a mindset shift. Share the wins. So many of us get so committed to our struggle. We get so committed to the problems in our life. That's all we want to talk about. We get around people, we're like, oh my gosh, you have no idea how hard today was. Let me tell you about it, right? We just get so conditioned that that's what we should talk about. But no, that's not real. That's not true. Why are we not, if we're putting that much energy into what's going wrong, why aren't we putting that much energy into what's going right?
Well, and again, it takes some work and some time, and I wasn't always the best at it. I've gotten a lot better now, but when you're in challenge or having a day where you struggle, if you can reframe that's a win, because it is. To me, it's like going to the gym and lifting heavy weight. You create resistance so you get stronger, and sometimes in life, God piles on some challenges, so we have to lift the weight. I've use this process through business challenges, personal loss, and I don't like any of the loss, but I do like what comes out of me when I learn how to get back up again, how to power through, perseverance. And this doesn't happen overnight. This is somewhat of a grind, and it's only a grind because it's the daily.
And it just starts with one small step. I mean, we have clients that have lost over 100 pounds. They didn't just start going, I'm losing 100 pounds and not taking micro adjustments to do that. And, you know, it's hard not to get caught up when you've lost 50 pounds, when your goal is 100, to be like, I've only lost 50 pounds. When to someone else, they're like, holy shit, you've lost 50 pounds? Like, what are you doing? Tell me how to do that. And because it becomes so normal to you, it becomes such a habit, you don't realize how big of a win that is.
Yeah. Well, we call that don't get caught in the gap, right? If this is your goal and you start down here,
celebrate those
and you
small
get
wins in
halfway to your
between.
goal, don't get caught in the gap that you're only halfway. Celebrate the hell that you're halfway. You know, the glass isn't half empty or half full. You are halfway there. Celebrate it. Celebrate it.
Always, always, always. And that, every time you celebrate a win, you train your brain to look for those wins, to be celebratory, to be grateful. So guess what? More wins show up, bigger things happen. That goal that seemed unreachable, doubling your income, all of a sudden just becomes, well, I just doubled my income. Okay, cool. Like, that was actually way easier than I thought it would be, and now I'm doing it. So what's next, right? That's how we get these big goals. That's how we make massive change. Massive change doesn't happen overnight. It happens through micro adjustments. It happens through quote unquote small wins, but you have to be aware of them. You have to be cognizant. You have to be intentional. You have to be grateful.
Well, in physics and in life and in energy, it's called momentum.
It's all
And
momentum.
do you have positive momentum or negative? If you're beating yourself up and being hard on yourself, you're creating negative momentum. If you're celebrating every win, you're creating positive. And again, you know, through some of my most challenging times, sometimes a win was the air in my lungs and the sun coming up. That is a win. That is a win. Just being alive. You know, statistically, the chances of being alive are 1 in 400 trillion. I keep talking about that a lot. It's a better chance of winning the Powerball,
Than
or
being
lower
born.
chance to be born. You were born. You're here. That's a win. And we're not all born into these amazing, easy lives. No, we're born into a lot of struggle and challenge. I've had my fair share. But every day, if I remind myself of the simplest win, that I'm in a happy, healthy body, sometimes it hurts, sometimes it doesn't feel 100%, but I'm still alive. I still have the opportunity to go out in this world and create every single day.
Yeah.
That's the biggest micro win of all, babe.
It
Just
is.
this fact that we get to live this life. You know, I remember reading something one time. It was talking about, you know, for every breath we exhale, we feed a plant
Yeah.
or a tree. And when you're feeling your most worthless, just think to yourself, I'm keeping the plants alive today. I'm breathing, right? Just having breath is keeping another living organism on this planet alive. That's kind of cheesy, but it's also, it's true.
Yeah, and that's
You know.
quote unquote small win, but it's a win. And if you're in struggle right now, celebrate that too. The most powerful and the richest people I know in the world have had the biggest struggles.
Yes. And even they still struggle with some of the simple things like we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's never done. It's not easy. You just have to wake up every day. I'm going to quote from my meditation, A New Day. This is it. It's a brand new day. It's your gift.
None of us have ever lived this day before.
No.
And you're never going to be as young as you are right now in this moment. So celebrate it.
I don't know.
Celebrate it.
I'm getting younger every day. That might defy physics, so we won't go there.
There we go.
All right. Anything else for listeners?
No.
All right. Well, the challenge is, what are you going to win at? Pick one thing.
One thing.
One thing, a little thing, a new thing tomorrow. If you're working on health and wellness, 15-minute walk. If you're in sales, be face-to-face with a client before 9 a.m. or whatever time you normally do. In your relationship, give your loved one a compliment every day for 30 days. Just do one thing different, make it a habit, and see what happens.
You're going to love it.
Thanks for listening. As always, only ask is share our message if you like it and haven't already. Subscribe, share, listen. Listen for 15 minutes a day to something good for your mind. Create better thoughts, which create better actions, which will always create better results.
Every time.
Enjoy the ride. It's a good one.
Welcome to the Inner Blueprint Podcast. I'm Sean Foyer, the Universal Mindset Disruptor. With over 20 years of turning blueprints into thriving home improvement businesses, I've learned that the strongest foundations start in your mind. Whether you're